Prologue. I taste blood before I feel the pain. The metallic tang spreads across my tongue as I press my fingers to my split lip, staring at the crimson stain on my fingertips. The mirror in front of me shows a stranger, a woman in a white dress that costs more than my childhood home, diamonds cold against her throat, eyes hollow with the weight of choices she never made. 3 months. That's how long I've been his wife. 3 months since my father sold me like livestock to settle a debt I didn't know existed. 3 months since I stood in a cathedral and promised forever to a man whose hands have killed more people than I've ever loved. 3 months since I learned that fairy tales are just pretty lies we tell children before the wolves come. The bathroom door is locked, but I know it won't keep him out. Nothing keeps Dante Salvatore out. Not steel, not distance, not the hatred I've tried so desperately to nurture in the space between my ribs where something softer keeps trying to bloom. I hear his footsteps in the bedroom beyond. Measured, patient. The kind of patience a predator shows when it knows the prey has nowhere left to run. Isabella. His voice carries through the door, low and dark as midnight. Not a question, a command wrapped in the silk of my name. Open the door. My reflection stares back at me with eyes that haven't cried in weeks. I learned quickly that tears mean nothing to men like him. Tears are just another form of currency in a world where everything can be bought, traded, or taken by force. I learned other things too. I learned that my husband doesn't sleep more than 4 hours a night, that he takes his coffee black and his whiskey neat, that he has a scar beneath his left shoulder blade from a knife that came too close, that when he touches me, my body betrays every principle my mind still tries to cling to. I learned that hate and want can exist in the same breath. Isabella. There's an edge now, sharp enough to draw blood. I won't ask again. My fingers tremble as I reach for the lock. I tell myself it's fear. It probably is. But there's something else threaded through it, something I refuse to name, because naming it would mean accepting what I've become. The lock clicks. I don't open the door. I don't have to. He does it himself, filling the doorway with his presence. 6 feet 3 inches of tailored menace and beautiful brutality. His dark eyes find mine in the mirror, and for a moment neither of us speaks. The air between us crackles with all the things we don't say, with the violence we do to each other in the dark. You were gone, I say, and my voice sounds steadier than I feel. I had business. He moves closer, each step deliberate. I can smell his cologne, sandalwood, and something darker, something that reminds me of smoke and secrets. Did you miss me, wife? The word is a weapon. He knows it, I know it. This thing between us has always been warfare dressed up as matrimony. No, the lie tastes worse than the blood. His lips curve, but it's not quite a smile. Dante doesn't smile. He bares his teeth. Liar. He's behind me now, close enough that I can feel his heat, close enough that his reflection crowds mine in the mirror. His hand rises, and I watch it travel toward my face with the same fascinated horror I'd feel watching a snake strike. But he doesn't hurt me. He never does. Not the way I expected. His thumb brushes my split lip with a gentleness that makes my stomach twist, wiping away the blood with a touch so careful it borders on reverence. Who did this? 3 words. Quiet. Lethal. It doesn't matter. Everything that touches you matters. His thumb presses slightly harder, not quite pain, not quite pleasure. Their name, Isabella. I could lie. I should lie, but I'm so tired of the games, the masks, the constant performance of being someone I'm no longer sure exists. Your sister. Something flashes across his face, brief, dark, gone before I can read it fully. His hand drops from my face to my throat, fingers spanning the column with possessive ease. Not squeezing, just holding, claiming. Lucia, he says, and there's a promise in his tone that makes my pulse jump beneath his palm. Don't. The word escapes before I can stop it. It was just words, just? His grip tightens fractionally and my breath catches. You think I care if she used her hands or her mouth? You're mine, Isabella. Mine to protect. Mine to... He stops himself, jaw clenching. Mine to what? I want to ask. Mine to hurt? Mine to use? Mine to keep locked in this golden cage while you pretend we're anything more than prisoner and captor? But I don't ask because I'm afraid of the answer. Or, more terrifying still, I'm afraid I already know it. His other hand comes up, fingers threading through my hair, destroying the elegant updo that took Maria an hour to perfect. He tilts my head back against his chest, forcing me to meet his eyes in our shared reflection. Look at us, he commands softly. I don't want to. Looking means seeing. Seeing means knowing. Knowing means accepting that the woman in the mirror wearing diamonds and designer silk is me. That the man holding her like salvation and damnation combined is my husband. That this twisted thing between us has roots growing deeper every day. Look at us, he repeats, and this time it's not a command. It's something else. Something almost vulnerable in the way his voice fractures around the edges. So, I look. I see a man and a woman who should never have met. I see beauty and violence pressed so close together they've blurred into something new, something that has no name in any language I know. I see his hands on me, one at my throat, one in my hair, and the terrible truth is that I don't want him to let go. 3 months ago, I would have fought him. 2 months ago, I would have flinched. 1 month ago, I would have frozen. Now, I turn in his arms. His pupils dilate, surprise flickering across features that rarely show anything at all. We're chest to chest, breath to breath, and I can feel his heart beating against mine in a rhythm that shouldn't match, but does. What are you doing? His voice is rough, raw. I don't know. It's the most honest thing I've said in weeks. His hand tightens in my hair, and pain sparks bright across my scalp. Not much. Just enough to remind me who holds the power here, who's always held it. You should be afraid of me, he says, and for the first time since I've known him, Dante Salvatore sounds lost. I am. I press closer, feeling the hard lines of his body against mine. The weapon I know he carries beneath his jacket. I'm terrified. Then why? Because being afraid of you is easier than being afraid of myself. The confession tears out of me like a scream. Because at least when you're the monster, I can pretend I'm still human. Something in his expression cracks. His forehead drops to mine, and we stand there in the bathroom that costs more than my father's debts, breathing the same air, existing in the same impossible moment. Isabella. My name on his lips is a prayer and a curse. What have you done to me? Before I can answer, before I can think, his mouth is on mine. Not gentle, not soft. This is the kiss of a man who's been holding back for too long, and it tastes like possession and desperation and 3 months of wanting what he shouldn't want. I kiss him back. I kiss him back like I'm drowning and he's air. Like I'm burning and he's ice. Like I'm lost and he's home, even though home stopped existing the day I said I do in a church full of people who wanted me gone. His hands are everywhere. My face, my waist, the small of my back, pulling me impossibly closer. My fingers dig into his shoulders, and I feel him shudder against me, feel the control he's famous for starting to fray. The door to the bedroom slams open. We break apart, Dante's gun already in his hand, his body shielding mine before my brain processes the sound. His brother Marco stands in the doorway, face pale, breath coming hard. "We have a problem," Marco says, and his eyes slide to me briefly before returning to Dante. "The Russians know about her, about everything." The temperature in the room plummets. Dante's hand finds mine, fingers lacing through in a grip that borders on painful. "How long?" His voice is arctic. "They've known for 2 weeks, maybe more." 2 weeks. Dante repeats it like he's testing the weight of a death sentence. His thumb strokes absently over my knuckles, a gesture so tender it seems impossible coming from him. "Get the car. We leave in 5 minutes." "Where are we going?" I ask, but I already know. I can see it in the set of his shoulders, the way his jaw has turned to stone. Marco disappears, and Dante turns to me. In his eyes, I see something I've never seen before, something that looks almost like fear. "Pack a bag," he says quietly. "Small, essential items only." "Dante!" "They'll come for you first." His hand cups my face, and the tenderness in it breaks something inside me. "To hurt me, they'll come for you. And Isabella," his voice drops to barely a whisper, "I can't let that happen." "Why?" The question is a gasp. "I'm nothing to you, just a debt, just—" "No." The word is absolute, final. He pulls me against him one more time, and his lips brush my temple with devastating gentleness. "You were never just anything." Then he's gone, moving toward the bedroom with the lethal grace that first terrified me. I stand frozen in the bathroom, my reflection showing a woman with swollen lips and wild eyes, a woman who just kissed her captor like he was her salvation. Outside, I hear shouting, glass breaks, an engine roars to life. And as I grab the small bag I keep hidden beneath the bathroom sink, the one I've been packing and repacking for 3 months, always planning an escape I knew would never come, I realize something that steals the breath from my lungs. I don't want to run from him anymore. I want to run with him. The thought should terrify me more than the Russians. It should feel like defeat. Instead, it feels like the first honest thing I've felt since I became Isabella Salvatore. Dante appears in the doorway, gun in one hand, car keys in the other. Blood spatters his white shirt. Not his blood, never his blood. And in the chaos and violence and fear, he's never looked more beautiful. "Ready?" he asks. I take his offered hand, feeling the calluses, the strength, the contradiction of a man who kills with these hands, but touches me like I'm made of light. "Ready," I lie, because I'll never be ready for what loving him means. We run. Behind us, I hear gunshots. Ahead, I see only darkness and the uncertainty of tomorrow. But his hand is in mine, and for the first time since this nightmare began, I'm not running away. I'm running towards something. Something that might destroy us both. Something that might destroy us both. Something that had already begun the moment his hand found mine in the darkness. Chapter 1. The gun pressed against my spine isn't what terrifies me. It's the fact that I stopped struggling 3 blocks ago. I watch the city lights blur past the tinted windows of the black SUV, my wrists bound with zip ties that bite into my skin every time I shift. The man beside me, all muscle and cold eyes, hasn't spoken since he shoved me into the back seat outside the restaurant where I was supposed to be meeting my best friend for dinner.
That was 20 minutes ago. A lifetime ago.
Where are you taking me? My voice sounds steadier than I feel. Small victories. The driver's eyes meet mine in the rearview mirror. You'll find out. His accent is thick Italian, maybe, and carries the weight of someone who's done this before. Someone who knows exactly how this ends. I pull against the restraints anyway, testing their strength even though I know it's useless. My phone is gone. My purse is gone. The small canister of pepper spray my father insisted I carry everywhere is somewhere on a sidewalk in downtown Chicago, useless as my ability to scream in a car with windows this thick.
Think, Isabella. Think.
But thinking requires a clear head, and mine is spinning with questions I can't answer. Why me? What do they want? How did they know where I'd be? The SUV takes a sharp turn, and I slide across the leather seat. My shoulder hits the door hard enough to make me gasp. The man beside me doesn't even flinch.
Careful, he mutters to the driver. Boss wants her intact.
Boss. The word sends ice through my veins.
This isn't random. This is organized, planned, which means someone wanted me specifically. And that realization is somehow worse than being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
We're leaving the city center now, heading toward the industrial district, where buildings crouch like sleeping monsters and streetlights become scarce. My heart hammers against my ribs hard enough to hurt.
My father, I start, then stop.
My father, God, my father will pay whatever ransom. This isn't about money. The driver's voice is flat.
Then what?
Shut up. I shut up. Not because he told me to, but because I see where we're heading. A warehouse looms ahead, all concrete and corrugated metal, the kind of place where screams would echo and no one would hear, where bodies could disappear without a trace. The SUV pulls around to a side entrance. The driver kills the engine, and suddenly the silence is deafening. I can hear my own breathing, fast and shallow. I can hear my pulse in my ears. I can hear the leather seat creak as the man beside me shifts his weight. Out. The door opens and hands grip my arms, hauling me from the vehicle before I can brace myself. I stumble, barely keeping my feet, as they march me toward a metal door that looks like it's been through a war. The inside of the warehouse is worse than I imagined. Shadows pool in corners that the overhead lights don't reach. The air smells like oil and rust and something else, something organic and wrong that makes my stomach turn. My escorts force me forward, their grip bruising. We pass stacks of crates, abandoned machinery, a desk covered in papers that flutter in the draft from somewhere. Then we're climbing stairs, metal stairs that ring with each footfall, up to a second level where offices line one wall, windows dark except for one. Light spills from that single window, warm and golden, and completely at odds with the cold dread pooling in my gut. They stop in front of the door. The man who drove knocks twice, a pattern, not random, and waits. Enter. The voice from inside is muffled but male, cultured, almost gentle. The door swings open, and they push me inside. The office is surprisingly neat. A desk, a chair, filing cabinets that look like they actually get used. A laptop sits open on the desk, screen glowing blue, And behind the desk, rising from his chair with the fluid grace of a predator, is the most beautiful man I've ever seen. Dark hair, darker eyes, a face that could have been carved from marble if marble could hold that much intensity. He's tall, I can tell, even with the desk between us, and wearing a suit that probably costs more than my rent. Everything about him screams power, from the set of his shoulders to the way he studies me like I'm a problem he's already solved. Isabella Russo. He says my name like he's tasting it. Thank you for joining us. Joining, as if I had a choice. Who are you? I force the words past the fear lodged in my throat. I think you know who I am. He walks around the desk, each step measured, deliberate. Your father certainly does. My father. There it is again. Whatever this is, my father is at the center of it. I don't know what my father told you, but he told me nothing. The man stops 3 feet away, close enough that I have to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. He didn't need to. The numbers speak for themselves. Numbers? My mind races. My father is an accountant, a boring, ordinary accountant who files taxes and balances books and comes home every night at 6:30 for dinner. What numbers could possibly? $2 million. The man's voice cuts through my thoughts like a blade. That's how much your father owes my family. $2 million he borrowed to cover gambling debts, to pay for your mother's medical bills before she died, to keep your childhood home from foreclosure. He pauses. To send you to college. The floor tilts beneath me. That's not... He wouldn't. He would. He did. Those dark eyes hold mine, and I see no mercy in them. And now the debt is due. Then take it up with him. My voice is rising, panic bleeding through. I don't have that kind of money. I'm a social worker. I make $30,000 a year. I can't. I'm not interested in your salary, Miss Russo. The way he says it makes my blood run cold. If not money, then what do you want? He moves closer, and my body tenses. I try to step back, but the men behind me are walls of muscle. I'm trapped. I've been trapped since the moment they pulled me into that SUV. Your father made a deal. His hand rises, and I flinch, but he's only reaching for my face. His fingers grip my chin, tilting my head up, forcing me to look at him. A deal that involves you. No. The word is automatic, desperate. Whatever he promised, I didn't agree to it. You can't. I can. His thumb brushes across my lower lip, and the gentleness of the gesture is somehow more terrifying than violence would be. I own you now, Isabella. Your father signed the papers 3 days ago. You became mine the moment you stepped into that SUV. Mine. The word echoes in my head, impossible and insane. This is kidnapping. I jerk my head away from his touch. This is human trafficking. You can't just... I can. He steps back, straightening his cuffs with casual ease. And I have. The police won't help you. Your father won't help you. No one is coming, Miss Russo. The sooner you accept that, the easier this will be. Easier. As if there's an easy way to process being sold like property? What are you going to do with me? My voice breaks on the question. For the first time, something flickers across his face. Not quite emotion, not quite human, but something. That depends on you. He returns to his desk, pressing a button on his laptop. A printer whirs to life in the corner. Your father's debt can be resolved in one of 2 ways.
He pays me $2 million by the end of the month, unlikely, given that he's already exhausted every line of credit available to him, or he collects the papers from the printer, staples them with a sharp click. You marry me. The words don't make sense. They're sounds without meaning, a language I don't speak. Marry. I repeat it like it might change definition if I say it out loud. Marry. He holds up the papers. A contract, legally binding. You become my wife for a period of no less than 2 years. During that time, you live in my home, accompany me to events as needed, and present yourself as my devoted spouse. In return, your father's debt is forgiven, and you receive a monthly allowance for your cooperation. You're insane. The laugh that escapes me is brittle. You're actually insane. I'm practical. He sets the papers on the desk. I need a wife. You need your father to survive. This arrangement benefits us both. Benefits? I can't even finish the sentence. You kidnapped me. You tied me up. You threatened. I haven't threatened anything. His tone remains infuriatingly calm. I'm offering you a choice. That's not a choice. That's coercion. Call it what you like. He leans against the desk, arms crossed. The outcome remains the same. You sign these papers and walk out of here as my fiancé, or you refuse and I collect my debt from your father in other ways. Ways that will be significantly less pleasant for everyone involved. My mind is screaming, racing through options I don't have. I could refuse. I could fight. What happens to my father if I refuse? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Do you really want to know? No. God, no. But I ask anyway, because not knowing is worse. Tell me. He studies me for a long moment, and I wonder what he sees. A terrified girl? A commodity? Something else entirely? Your father will have 30 days to produce $2 million, he says finally. When he fails, and he will fail, I'll take everything he has. His home, his car, his pension. And when those things aren't enough, I'll take other things. Fingers, toes, eventually his life. He pauses. And then I'll come for you anyway, because the debt doesn't die with him. It transfers to his next of kin, which is me, his only child. So, my choice is marry you now, or marry you later after watching my father die. My voice sounds distant, disconnected from my body. Essentially, yes. The casual cruelty of it steals my breath. This man, this beautiful, terrifying man, is discussing my father's murder like it's a business transaction, like we're negotiating a contract, not a life. Maybe we are. Maybe in his world, it's the same thing. Why me? The question surprises us both. You could have anyone. Why do you need? I need a wife who understands that this is business, nothing more. His eyes hold mine, and I see truth in them. Cold, hard truth. I need someone who won't develop inconvenient feelings. Someone who knows exactly what this is and can play her part without complication. Your situation makes you ideal. Ideal? Because I'm desperate. Because I have no choice. Because I'm already broken, so there's nothing left to break. One of the men behind me shifts, and I feel the weight of his presence like a physical thing. They're waiting. Everyone is waiting for me to make a decision that isn't really a decision at all. I look at the papers on the desk, at the man who's buying me like I'm livestock,
at my bound wrists and the future that's narrowing to a single impossible point. If I sign, my voice cracks. If I sign, my father is safe, completely safe.
You have my word.
The word of a man who kidnaps women? The bitterness tastes like ash. His jaw tightens. The first sign that I've gotten under his skin. The word of Dante Salvatore, which, in this city, is as binding as any legal contract. Dante Salvatore. The name registers like a gunshot. I've heard it before. Whispered in news reports, mentioned in hushed tones at the community center where I work. The Salvatore family. The organization. Your mafia. It's not a question. I prefer businessman. A hint of amusement colors his tone. But yes. Oh God, this isn't just bad. This is catastrophic. I need to call my father. The words tumble out. I need to hear it from him. No. Please. I hate the begging in my voice, but I can't stop it. Please, just let me. Sign the papers, Isabella. Dante pushes off the desk, moving toward me with that predatory grace. Sign them, and you can see your father tomorrow. Refuse, and you'll see him in 30 days, at his funeral. He's close enough now that I can smell his cologne, something expensive and dark that makes my head spin. Close enough that I can see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes, the sharp line of his jaw, the way his lips curve with something that might be satisfaction. I hate you, I whisper. You don't know me well enough to hate me. His hand rises, and this time I don't flinch. He cuts the zip ties with a knife that appeared from nowhere, freeing my wrists. The relief is immediate and painful. But you will. You'll know me very well before this is over. The promise in those words makes my skin prickle. He hands me a pen. Expensive. Heavy. The kind of pen that signs important documents. Life-changing documents. Documents that can't be unsigned once the ink dries. My hand shakes as I take it. 2 years, Dante says softly. 24 months. Then you're free, your father's debt is cleared, and you never have to see me again. That's all I'm asking. All he's asking, as if 2 years of my life is nothing, as if becoming his wife, his property, is a small inconvenience rather than a prison sentence. But my father who raised me alone after Mom died, my father who worked 2 jobs to keep me fed and clothed and loved, my father who doesn't deserve to die because he made desperate choices trying to save the people he loved. I look at the papers, at the blank line waiting for my signature, at the end of everything I thought my life would be. Then I press the pen to paper. The sound of my name in ink is the loudest thing I've ever heard. Excellent. Dante takes the papers, reviewing my signature with a small nod. Welcome to the family, Isabella. Or should I say, his smile is sharp enough to cut, Mrs. Salvatore. The name lands like a brand. Somewhere in the warehouse below, a door slams. Footsteps echo, running, urgent. Dante's expression shifts, all business in an instant. Marco, what? A man bursts into the office, younger than Dante but with the same dark eyes. Blood stains his shirt and his breathing comes hard. We've got a problem, he gasps. The Russos, they're here. They know we took the girl, and they've brought... Gunfire erupts somewhere below us. Close, too close. Dante's hand finds mine, pulling me behind him in one smooth motion. His other hand produces a gun from beneath his jacket. black, lethal, an extension of him. How many? His voice is ice. At least 10, maybe more. The girl's father? Leading them. My father. My father is here, and he's brought violence with him. He's brought guns and men and chaos to rescue me from a deal I just signed away. We need to move. Dante's grip on my hand tightens. Back entrance, now. But before anyone can move, the window explodes inward in a shower of glass. I feel myself falling, Dante's weight dragging me down as bullets tore through the space where we'd been standing just seconds before. Glass rained down around us, sharp and glittering and deadly, and I heard someone screaming. Maybe me, maybe someone else. I couldn't tell anymore. Dante covered my body with his, shielding me from the chaos erupting around us. His heart pounded against my back, steady despite the violence, and somewhere in my terror-soaked mind, I registered that he was protecting me. Actually protecting me, not because I was valuable property, but because something in him required it. The gunfire continued, deafening and relentless, and I knew with absolute certainty that nothing would ever be the same again. The floor is hard and cold against my cheek, and all I can hear is gunfire. Dante's body covers mine, a shield of muscle and expensive fabric that smells like gunpowder and sandalwood. His weight presses me into the concrete, and I can feel his heart beating against my spine, steady, controlled, like being shot at is just another Tuesday for him. Maybe it is. Stay down. His voice is in my ear, low and commanding. Then his weight lifts, and I watch him move toward the shattered window with the gun raised, each step silent despite the chaos erupting around us. Glass crunches under boots. The younger man, Marco, is returning fire from behind an overturned filing cabinet, his face set in grim concentration. Another man I didn't notice before lies motionless near the door, blood pooling beneath him in a spreading circle. My first dead body. I should scream. I should cry. I should do something other than lie here on the floor watching it happen like it's a movie instead of my life. How many down there? Dante's voice cuts through the noise. I count 8, maybe 9. Marco ejects an empty magazine, reloads without looking. They came in through the south entrance. Military precision. Someone tipped them off. Obviously. Dante fires twice controlled bursts that make my ears ring. The girl's father? Don't see him. Could be holding back, or... Another window explodes. More gunfire. The overhead lights flicker and die, plunging us into darkness, broken only by muzzle flashes that paint the walls in strobe light horror. Strong hands grip my arms, hauling me upright. I try to scream, but a palm covers my mouth, and Dante's voice hisses in my ear. Not a sound. Understand? I nod, and his hand drops. He pulls me toward the back of the office, away from the windows, toward a door I didn't notice before. Marco provides cover fire, the sound deafening in the enclosed space. Go, Marco shouts. I'll hold them off. Like hell. Dante yanks open the door, revealing a narrow stairwell descending into blackness. You've got 30 seconds, then you follow. That's an order. Dante. 30 seconds, Marco. Then we're moving. Dante's hand locked around my wrist, dragging me downstairs I can barely see. My feet tangle and I stumble, but he doesn't slow. Just pulls harder, practically carrying me as we descend into the bowels of the warehouse. The gunfire above grows muffled, distant. But I can still hear shouting, and one voice rises above the others, familiar, desperate, breaking on a name that stops my heart. Isabella! Dad! I freeze on the stairs, every instinct screaming at me to go back, to call out, to let him know I'm alive. Dante feels my hesitation and spins, pressing me against the concrete wall with his body, one hand covering my mouth again. Don't. His face is inches from mine, all hard angles and dangerous shadows. Don't make a sound, or he dies. They all die. Is that what you want? We're accelerating toward a closed garage door. Dante. Hold on. The sedan hits the door going 40 miles per hour. Metal screams. Glass shatters. The impact throws me forward against the seatbelt hard enough to bruise, and then we're through, tires squealing as Dante wrenches the wheel, sending us into a turn that makes the world tilt sideways. Gunfire follows us into the night. The rear windshield spiders with cracks, but holds. Dante doesn't flinch, just shifts gears and pushes the car faster, weaving between abandoned cars and piles of debris with the precision of someone who's done this before. Many times before. Get down, he orders. I am down. Lower. I curl into the footwell, making myself as small as possible as the world outside dissolves into sirens and shouting and the occasional crack of gunfire that makes me flinch every time. We drive for what feels like hours, but is probably only minutes. The sounds of pursuit fade gradually, replaced by the hum of the engine and the ragged sound of my own breathing. My whole body shakes, adrenaline and terror and shock combining into something that makes my teeth chatter. Finally, the car slows, stops. You can sit up now. I unfold myself from the footwell on legs that don't want to support my weight. We're parked in an underground garage, different from the warehouse, cleaner, with numbered spaces and security cameras in every corner. Dante kills the engine, and the sudden silence is deafening. For a long moment, neither of us moves. Then Dante turns to look at me, and in the dim light of the garage, I see something in his face I didn't expect. Not anger, not coldness, something almost like concern. Are you hurt? His eyes scan me, clinical and thorough. I don't think so. Chirac. No one will believe that. Those weren't in the contract. I'm not hungry. A pause. Then, eat anyway. You'll need your strength. His footsteps retreat, and I'm alone again with my thoughts and the city beyond the windows and the reality of what I've become. Mrs. Salvatore. The name tastes like ashes. I sink onto the bed, and finally, I let myself break. The sobs come hard and ugly, muffling themselves in silk pillows that smell faintly of lavender. I cry for my father, for myself, for the life I had this morning that feels like it belonged to someone else. I cry until I have nothing left. And when I'm done, when the tears have dried and my throat is raw, I stand on shaking legs and look at myself in the full-length mirror on the wall. The woman staring back is a stranger, bruised, torn, wearing the shocked expression of someone who's just survived something that should have killed her. But she survived. I survived. And survival, I'm learning, is its own kind of victory. The door to my room opens without warning. No knock, no permission. Dante stands in the doorway with a tray of food, his shirt changed, his hair still damp like he showered. His eyes find mine in the mirror, and something passes between us, acknowledgement maybe. Understanding that everything changed tonight, that we're bound now in ways that go beyond contracts and signatures. You should eat, he says again, softer this time. You should knock. It's my house. He sets the tray on a side table, but noted. He turns to leave, and I don't know what possesses me, grief or shock or the desperate need to understand the man who owns me, but I hear myself ask, why marriage? Why not just keep me here? You don't need a contract for that.
Dante pauses, his back to me. For a long moment, he doesn't answer. Then, because I need a wife, a real wife, someone the world sees as mine, someone who can stand beside me without flinching.
I flinch every time you come near me.
You'll learn not to. He looks over his shoulder, and his eyes hold mine with devastating intensity. You'll learn a lot of things, Isabella, starting tomorrow. His phone rings before I can respond. He answers it without breaking eye contact with me.
Marco. A pause. His expression darkens. I see. And the father? Another pause, longer. Good. Keep him there. I'll deal with it in the morning.
He ends the call, and I can barely breathe.
My father? I manage to ask.
Is alive. Dante pockets his phone. Injured, but alive. Marco has him at a secure location. He'll remain there until we sort this out. Relief floods through me so intensely my knees nearly buckle. Can I see him? Eventually.
That's not good enough.
That's all I can offer right now. His tone brooks no argument. He brought guns to a negotiation, Isabella. He endangered you. There are consequences for that. A crash echoed from somewhere in the penthouse. Breaking glass shattered the silence we'd built, followed immediately by voices shouting urgent warnings I couldn't make out. Dante's gun appeared in his hand with practiced speed, his entire body shifting into combat readiness. He moved toward the sounds of chaos, and I watched him go with my heart hammering against my ribs, realizing that this was my life now. Violence and fear, and a husband who walked toward danger like it was nothing more than an inconvenience. The shouting grew louder, closer, and I pressed myself against the wall, making myself small, as the reality of what I'd signed away became impossible to ignore. Chapter 3. 5 minutes, Dante. Give us 5 minutes. Her tone softens fractionally. Please. Control. She says it like the word tastes bad. They need to control everything. Their territory, their businesses, their women, especially their women. Her eyes meet mine. Did he tell you why he needs a wife? That's what I told myself about my husband. Lucia's smile is sad. I was wrong. Don't make my mistake. She opens the door to find Dante leaning against the opposite wall, arms crossed, expression unreadable. How long has he been there? How much did he hear? Done terrorizing my fiancé? His tone is light, but there's steel underneath. For now. Lucia kisses his cheek as she passes. The Russos have a leak in their organization, someone close to the father. Find them, and you'll find who's been feeding information to your enemies. She pauses. Oh, and Dante? Try not to break this one. I actually like her. Then she's gone, her footsteps echoing down the hall, leaving Dante and me alone with the weight of everything she said hanging between us. Dante pushes off the wall, entering the room with that predatory grace I'm starting to recognize. What did she tell you? The truth, apparently. I stand, needing the distance, needing to see his face when I ask. Have you been watching me? Following me? Before tonight? Before all of this? He doesn't deny it, doesn't even hesitate. Yes. The confirmation is somehow worse than the accusation. Why? Because I needed to know who I was acquiring. He says it like it's rational, like stalking someone is just good business practice. I needed to understand you, your patterns, your vulnerabilities, your strengths.
That's insane.
That's thorough. He moves closer, and I force myself not to retreat. I don't make investments without research, Isabella. And you... His hand rises, fingers brushing my cheek with that devastating gentleness. You are a significant investment.
I'm a person. You're both. His thumb traces my lower lip, and I hate that my breath catches. You're a person who is now my responsibility. My wife, soon. My problem to solve and protect and keep safe. Possess? The word comes out sharper than intended. Something flashes in his eyes. Did Lucia tell you that? She told me a lot of things, like how you don't love, how you only possess, how this will end with me destroyed. My sister is dramatic.
Is she wrong?
The question hangs between us, heavy with implication. Dante's hand drops from my face, and he steps back, creating space that feels like an acknowledgement. I don't know how to love, Isabella. I've never tried, never wanted to. His honesty is brutal. But I know how to protect what's mine. I know how to keep you safe, fed, clothed, comfortable. I know how to honor the contract we signed. If that's not enough, he shrugs, then I'm sorry, but it's all I have to offer. That's not a marriage. That's a transaction. All marriages are transactions. I'm just honest about it. He moves toward the door, then stops. Tomorrow morning, my tailor will arrive at 9. You'll be fitted for appropriate clothing. At noon, we have lunch with my family, all of them. You'll smile, you'll play the devoted fiancé, you'll make them believe this is real. And if I can't? You will. It's not a threat, just certainty, because you're stronger than you think, and because your father's life depends on your performance. He opens the door. Get some rest. Tomorrow begins your new life. Dante. His name stops him. What happens if I fall in love with you? The question surprises us both. I don't know why I asked it. Some perverse need to hear him say what Lucia already told me, maybe. Some desperate desire to understand the man who owns me. He turns slowly, his expression carefully neutral. Then you'll get hurt, and I'll regret it, but it won't change anything. The contract stands. 2 years. That's all this is. All it can ever be. Because you don't love. Because I can't afford to. For just a moment, something human flickers across his face. Something almost like regret. Go to sleep, Isabella. Things will look clearer in the morning. He leaves, and I'm alone again in my beautiful prison with my thoughts spiraling and Lucia's warning echoing in my head. Don't fall in love with him. As if I could. As if anyone could love a man who treats people like chess pieces, who plans marriages like military campaigns, who watches and waits and takes what he wants without apology. I change into one of the silk nightgowns from the closet, his choice, his purchase, his property, and climb into bed that's softer than anything I've ever owned. The city glitters beyond the windows, millions of lights like captured stars, and somewhere out there my father is alive because I signed my name on a piece of paper. You said, I don't sit, don't know why I came here, what I'm hoping to find. Your sister said you've been watching me for months. Stay behind me. His breath is warm against my ear. What's happening? Someone cut the power. His body is tense, coiled like a spring. Someone is in the building. Glass shattered in the living room. Not a window, something smaller, more deliberate. Then I smelled it, acrid and chemical, something that made my eyes water and my throat close. Gas. Dante's voice was urgent, commanding. "They're pumping gas into the ventilation system." My knees buckled before I could process the words. The world tilted sideways, and Dante caught me, his arms strong and steady, even as darkness crept in from the edges of my vision. I heard him shouting my name, felt his hands on my face, trying to keep me conscious, but the chemical sweetness in the air was already pulling me under. The last thing I registered was his arms tightening around me and the sound of glass shattering somewhere far away, and then there was nothing but darkness and the terrifying certainty that this time we might not wake up. Chapter 4. I wake to the smell of roses and chlorine. My head throbs with each heartbeat, a dull ache that radiates from the base of my skull. My mouth tastes like copper and chemicals. When I try to move, my limbs feel heavy, disconnected, like they belong to someone else. Slowly, the world comes into focus. I'm not in Dante's penthouse. I'm in a bed softer than the one I fell asleep in, with silk sheets that whisper against my skin. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating a room that's all white and gold and expensive taste. A vase of red roses sits on the nightstand, their scent cloying in the warm air. Where am I? I push myself upright, and the room spins. My stomach lurches, but I force down the nausea, focusing on details. My clothes have been changed. I'm wearing a different nightgown, white silk with lace at the edges. Someone undressed me while I was unconscious. The thought makes my skin crawl. The door opens before I can process anything else. Dante enters carrying a tray, and the relief that floods through me is immediate and unwelcome. He's alive. We're both alive. Whatever happened last night didn't end with bullets or blood. You're awake. He sets the tray on the bedside table. Coffee, toast, fruit arranged artfully. How do you feel? Like I was gassed and kidnapped. Again. My voice is rough, throat raw. Where are we? Somewhere safe. He sits on the edge of the bed, close enough to touch. My family's estate, about an hour outside the city. No one knows we're here except Marco and a few trusted guards. What happened? Someone breached my security, pumped knockout gas through the ventilation system. His jaw tightens. If I hadn't smelled it when I did, we'd both be dead, or worse. Worse? I don't want to know what worse means in his world. My father is still secure, still alive. Dante reaches for the coffee, handing it to me. Drink. You need to flush the chemicals from your system. I take the cup because my hands need something to do. The coffee is perfect, exactly the way I like it, with cream and 1 sugar. How does he know that? Because he's been watching you for months. The thought makes the coffee taste bitter, despite the sugar. Who's trying to kill us? I ask. That's the question. Dante stands, moving to the windows. In the daylight, I can see the exhaustion in the set of his shoulders, the tension in his spine. Someone who knows my systems, my schedules, my locations. Someone close. Lucia said there's a leak in my father's organization. There's a leak somewhere. He turns to face me. Until I know where and how deep, we stay here, hidden, together. Together. The word carries weight I don't want to examine. For how long? But his eyes are the color of good whiskey, and up close I can see flecks of gold I didn't notice before. And his hand in my hair is gentle, too gentle for a man who kills without hesitation. And the way he's looking at me isn't possession. It's something else. Something that makes my chest ache. If I do this, my voice is barely a whisper. If I play the devoted fiancé, you promise my father stays safe, no matter what. You have my word. The word of a man who stalked me. The word of a man who chose you. His forehead drops to mine, and we breathe the same air. When I could have chosen anyone, Isabella, when I had hundreds of options, I chose you. That has to mean something. It means you wanted someone broken enough to control. It means I wanted someone strong enough to survive me. His hand tightens in my hair. Not pain, just presence. There's a difference. Before I can respond, his mouth is on mine. Not asking, taking. The kiss is everything the one in the penthouse bathroom would have been. Desperate and possessive and edged with something that tastes like danger. But this time, I'm ready for it. This time, when his tongue traces the seam of my lips, I open for him. When his free hand finds my waist, pulling me closer, I go. When he makes a sound low in his throat that's pure male satisfaction, I don't analyze what it means. I just feel. And feeling is easier than thinking, easier than remembering, easier than acknowledging that I'm kissing the man who ruined my life while wearing a nightgown he probably bought, in a bed he definitely owns, in a prison with silk sheets and roses that smell like captivity dressed as romance. Dante pulls back first, his breathing ragged. See, you can pretend when you want to. The words are a slap, a reminder that this is performance, not reality. That whatever just happened between us was rehearsal for the real show starting in 3 hours. I hate you. The words taste like lies. Good. He stands, straightening his shirt with hands that don't shake. Hate is honest. Hate I can work with. He moves toward the door, then pauses. There's a closet full of appropriate clothing. Someone will arrive in an hour to help you dress. Choose something that says happily engaged, not hostage situation. Perfect. Maria packs up her supplies. They're gathering on the terrace. Mr. Salvatore asked me to escort you down when you're ready. Ready? I'll never be ready. But I follow Maria anyway, through hallways lined with family portraits and antiques that probably cost more than I'll earn in my lifetime. The estate is massive. All old money and old secrets. The kind of place where bodies could be buried in the basement and no one would ever know. We step outside onto a terrace that overlooks manicured gardens. And there they are, the Salvatore family in all their terrifying glory. Dante stands at the center, talking with Marco and another man who shares their dark eyes. An older woman, elegant, beautiful despite her age, sits at a patio table with Lucia. 2 more men I don't recognize lounge near the bar, drinks already in hand despite it being barely noon. Dante sees me first. His expression shifts, something flickering across his features that might be appreciation or satisfaction or something else entirely. He moves toward me, each step purposeful, and I force myself not to retreat. Isabella. He takes my hand, raising it to his lips in a gesture that's pure theater. You look beautiful. Thank you. The words sound wooden. Come, meet my family. He tucks my hand into the crook of his arm, and the possessiveness of the gesture makes my skin prickle. Mother, this is Isabella Russo. Isabella, my mother, Elena Salvatore. The older woman stands with fluid grace, studying me with eyes that miss nothing. So you're the girl who captured my son's heart? Her voice carries the weight of old-world elegance. I was beginning to think he didn't have one. Mother! Dante's warning is clear. I'm joking, darling. But her eyes stay on me, assessing. Tell me, Isabella, how did you meet my son? The question is a test. I can feel everyone watching, waiting to see if I'll stumble. At a charity gala, I say, because it's close enough to true. I was working, he was attending, our eyes met across the room, and I look up at Dante, forcing myself to smile. It sounds like a cliché, but it felt like fate. Fate? Elena's lips curve. How romantic. Lucia snorts softly into her champagne, but no one else seems to notice. The introductions continue. Carlo, the oldest brother, cold-eyed and calculating. Antonio and Rocco, cousins who look at me like I'm fresh meat. Each handshake, each polite exchange, each moment of forced intimacy feels like walking through a minefield. Oh, I like her. She raises her mimosa. To Isabella, welcome to the family, dear. You're braver than you look. Everyone drinks except Carlo, whose expression suggests he's not entirely satisfied with my answer. But the moment passes, and conversation shifts to wedding plans and honeymoon destinations, and all the normal things families discuss when preparing for a marriage. Except nothing about this is normal. Dante's hand finds my thigh under the table, squeezing gently. Approval, maybe, or warning. I can't tell which. His thumb traces small circles on my skin, the touch distracting and intimate, and completely inappropriate for a family brunch. When's the wedding? Antonio asks around a mouthful of eggs. 3 weeks. Dante's answer surprises me. We see no reason to wait. 3 weeks. Not 2 years from now when the contract expires. 3 weeks. As if this is real. As if we're actually building something that extends beyond transactions and threats. That's fast. Lucia's tone is carefully neutral. Most engagements last at least 6 months. Most engagements don't involve people who know what they want. Dante's eyes find mine, and the intensity in them makes my breath catch. When you know, you know. Isn't that right, love? Love. The endearment sounds wrong in his mouth. Too soft. Too human. Right. I force myself to lean into him, to play my part. Why wait when we're sure? Indeed, Elena beams. Young love. It's refreshing to see, Dante. Your father would be proud. Something flickers across Dante's face at the mention of his father. Pain, maybe. Or regret. It's gone before I can identify it. The brunch continues for another hour. Endless questions about how he proposed, where we'll live, whether I'll keep working. I lie smoothly, building a fairy tale from threads of truth and necessity. Dante supports each fabrication, adding details that make the story richer, more believable. We're good at this. Too good. The lies come easier with each telling, and I wonder if that's how it happens. If you pretend long enough, does fiction become fact? Finally, Elena stands, announcing she needs to rest. The family disperses gradually until it's just Dante and me on the terrace. His hand still holding mine, the afternoon sun casting long shadows across the gardens. You did well. His voice is quiet. Better than I expected. I'm an excellent liar, apparently. The bitterness leaks through. You're an excellent survivor. He stands, pulling me with him. Come, walk with me. It's not a request. We descend stairs into the gardens, following stone paths between rose bushes and sculpted hedges. The air smells like flowers and fresh-cut grass, so normal it hurts. Like we're just a couple taking a romantic walk, rather than a kidnapper and his captive playing dress-up for his family. Dante stops near a fountain, its water catching sunlight like scattered diamonds. 3 weeks, he says, still holding my hand. I meant what I said. I want us married quickly. Why the rush? Because every day you're not officially mine is a day someone can use you against me. His jaw tightens. Last night proved that. Someone wants you dead, or wants to use you to get to me. Being my wife offers protection. Being my fiancé just makes you vulnerable. Bait. Exactly. He turns to face me fully. I need you safe, Isabella. And the fastest way to ensure that is to make you legally untouchable. No one touches a Salvatore wife, not without starting a war. So this is about protection, about ownership, about making sure his investment stays secure. And after, I ask? After 2 years when the contract ends? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. His hand rises, cupping my face with that maddening gentleness. 2 years, that's what we agreed. I won't hold you past that. You have my word. Your word. I laugh, brittle. The same word you gave when you promised not to hurt me. When you said I had a choice. When you... He kisses me. Right there in the garden where anyone could see, he pulls me against him and kisses me like he's trying to prove something. To himself or to me, I don't know. And God help me, I kiss him back. Again. Like I'm addicted to the taste of my own destruction. When we break apart, we're both breathing hard. 3 weeks, he says against my lips. Then you're mine. Legally, officially, for better or worse. A gunshot cracked through the afternoon silence. Dante had me on the ground before the sound fully registered, his body covering mine in a practiced motion, shielding me as chips of stone exploded from the fountain where we'd been standing. His gun appeared in his hand with terrifying speed, and I felt his muscles coil as he scanned the gardens for threats. Stay down, he commanded, his voice deadly calm despite the chaos. Don't move. Another shot rang out, closer this time, and then I heard shouting, guards responding, running toward our position. Dante returned fire without hesitation, the sound deafening so close to my ear, and I realized with stunning clarity that someone was actively trying to kill us. Both of us. Together. This wasn't a warning or intimidation. This was an execution attempt, and we were completely exposed in the open garden with nowhere to hide. She was the kind who tried to escape. His voice is carefully neutral. It didn't end well. The implication hangs heavy between us. I don't ask what happened. Don't want to know if the story ends with death or abandonment or something worse. Minutes crawl past. The safe room has no windows, no way to mark time except the steady tick of my pulse and the weight of Marco's presence near the door. I pace, 3 steps one way, 3 steps back, trying to burn off the adrenaline still flooding my system. He chose you, you know? Marco's voice breaks the silence. Dante. He had other options, easier options, women who already understood this life, women who wouldn't flinch at the blood. Then why me? Because you're kind. He says it like it's a foreign concept. Genuinely kind. And men like us, men like Dante, we don't encounter kindness often. When we do, we want to possess it, keep it, lock it away where it can't be corrupted by everything else. That's not love. That's... I never said it was love. Marco meets my eyes. I said it was want, need. The closest thing men like us get to the real thing. Before I can respond, the door opens. Dante enters, and I know immediately that whatever happened in the wine cellar was bad. His shirt is gone, replaced by a clean one, but I can see blood on his hands, under his nails, in the creases of his knuckles. Fresh blood. Someone else's blood. Out, he tells Marco, who leaves without argument. We're alone in the concrete box, and the air feels too thin, too heavy, charged with violence that still clings to Dante like cologne. Did you kill him? The question escapes before I can stop it. Not yet. Dante moves to the small sink in the corner, washing his hands with methodical precision. But I will, after I verify his information. What did he tell you? Everything. Water runs red, then pink, then clear. The attack was coordinated by the Volkov family, Russians. They've been trying to move into our territory for months, and apparently they see you as leverage. Kill you, and I'm weakened, distracted, vulnerable. So this is about you, not my father. Then we reassess. He won't give me more than that. But first, you have to survive long enough to worry about it. And if I say no? Dante breaks into a run, and I follow, because what choice do I have? I've got you, he murmurs against my temple. Sleep, I've got you. A single diamond, flawless and huge, set in platinum with smaller stones circling it. It's beautiful, tasteful, the kind of ring that costs more than I'll earn in 5 years. The kind of ring a man gives a woman he loves. I can't. That's too much. It's exactly right. He removes it from the box, taking my left hand. You're about to become a Salvatore. You need to look like one. The ring slides on perfectly. Of course it does, and sits heavy on my finger like a brand, a claim, a promise I never wanted to make. There. Dante studies the ring on my hand, satisfaction clear in his expression. Now you look like you belong to me. The door exploded inward with a force that shook the entire cabin. Men poured through, 5, 6, too many to count in the chaos. And Dante was moving before I could scream, pushing me behind him, his gun already firing. The sound was deafening in the enclosed space, and I dropped to the floor as instructed, making myself small while violence erupted around me. Someone grabbed my arm. Rough hands, not Dante's. And I screamed, finally, fighting against a grip that was too strong, too practiced. Dante was shouting something, his voice raw with rage, but I couldn't hear over the gunfire and my own pulse thundering in my ears. Then came pain, sharp and bright across the side of my head, and the world tilted sideways in a sickening rush. The last thing I saw was Dante's face, twisted in rage and something that looked like fear, his hand reaching for me even as the darkness pulled me under and stole everything away. Chapter 6. I wake to the taste of copper and the sound of Russian. My head throbs where someone hit me, a deep, pulsing ache that makes thinking difficult. My wrists are bound behind my back with something that cuts into skin when I move. The floor beneath me is cold concrete, and the air smells like mildew and old blood. I force my eyes open slowly, carefully, trying not to alert anyone that I'm conscious. The room is small, windowless. A single bulb hangs from the ceiling, casting harsh shadows across concrete walls marked with stains I don't want to identify. 2 men stand near the door, large, armed, speaking quietly in a language I don't understand, but recognize from news reports and movies. Russian. Dante said the Volkovs were Russian. My heart rate spikes, but I force myself to breathe slowly, quietly, to assess, to think. The ring is still on my finger. I can feel its weight, though my hands are numb from the restraints. That means I wasn't unconscious long enough for them to strip me of valuables. Which means Dante might still be alive to come after me. The thought brings more comfort than it should. One of the guards notices I'm awake. He says something, sharp, commanding, and his companion leaves, presumably to alert whoever's in charge. I'm alone with one guard now, and he's watching me with the dispassionate expression of a man who's done this before. I try to speak, but my throat is too dry. The sound that emerges is more croak than word. The guard doesn't offer water, doesn't offer anything, just stands there, weapon ready, waiting. The door opens minutes or hours later, I've lost track of time, and a man enters who's clearly in charge. Older than the guards, better dressed, with cold blue eyes that assess me the way Dante's family assessed me at brunch. Like I'm a commodity, a tool, something to be used and discarded. Miss Russo. His English is perfect, barely accented. Or should I say, Mrs. Salvatore? I heard congratulations are in order. I don't respond. Don't give him the satisfaction of fear, even though terror is clawing at my throat. Nothing to say? He crouches in front of me, close enough that I can smell his cologne, something expensive that doesn't match the surroundings. That's wise. Silence is often the safest choice in situations like these. What do you want? My voice is rough but steady. Direct. I appreciate that. He stands, pacing the small space with hands clasped behind his back. What I want is simple. I want Dante Salvatore to suffer. I want him to understand what it feels like to lose something precious, something irreplaceable. I'm not precious to him. I'm just... A business arrangement? His smile is sharp. Is that what you tell yourself? That you mean nothing to him beyond a signature on paper? He laughs, cold and humorless. I watched him at that cabin, Miss Russo. I saw his face when we took you. That wasn't the expression of a man losing a business asset. The words land like physical blows. I don't want them to mean anything. Don't want to believe that Dante cares beyond the practical value I represent. But I remember his face in those final seconds. The rage, yes, but underneath it, something that looked almost like panic, like fear, like something more. He'll come for me. I force confidence I don't feel. When he does, when he comes, we'll be ready. The man, I still don't know his name, moves to the door. In the meantime, make yourself comfortable. You'll be here a while. Your husband needs time to understand the full weight of his mistakes. What mistakes? Existing. The simplicity of the answer is terrifying. Taking territory that belongs to my family. Killing my brother 3 years ago in a dispute over shipping routes. His expression darkens. Building an empire on the corpses of people I loved. I had nothing to do with that. You have everything to do with it now. He opens the door. You're the weapon I'll use to destroy him. Whether you survive the process is entirely up to Dante's choices in the coming hours. Then he's gone, and I'm alone again with the silent guard and the growing realization that I'm bait in a trap designed to kill the only person who can save me. Time becomes meaningless. The guard changes twice, different faces, same cold professionalism. No one offers food or water. No one speaks to me. I'm just another piece of property in a war I didn't start and don't understand. My wrists are bleeding where the restraints cut into skin. My head still throbs. My mouth is so dry I can barely swallow. But worse than the physical discomfort is the fear that coils in my gut like a living thing. Fear that Dante is already dead. That the attack at the cabin killed him. That I'm truly alone here with no rescue coming. Fear that he's alive and will do something reckless trying to save me. that he'll walk into this trap and die because of me. Fear that I care which option happens. The door opens again. I've stopped tracking how many times. And this time it's different. The guards are tense, weapons raised, as someone is shoved roughly into the room. A woman, bloodied, barely conscious. It takes me a moment to recognize her through the bruises. Lucia. They drop her near me, and she groans, a sound of pure pain that makes my chest ache. Her eyes find mine, and something passes between us. Recognition, understanding, shared captivity. Isabella. Her voice is barely a whisper. You're alive. So are you. I shift closer, awkward with my hands bound. What happened? They hit the city safe house, took me, and... She stops, coughing. Blood flecks her lips. Elena. They have Dante's mother, too. The news lands like a physical blow. Not just me. Elena. Lucia. 3 Salvatore women held hostage to ensure Dante's compliance with whatever demands these people make. Where's Dante? I need to know, need to hear. Alive. Lucia's eyes close. Angry. Planning something reckless, probably. She coughs again, harder. He was calling in every favor, every alliance, starting a war to get you back. Not me, all of us. No. Lucia's eyes open, finding mine with disturbing clarity. He ordered us to safety first, told Marco to prioritize the family. But when they took you, she pauses. I've never seen him like that, Isabella. 35 years, and I've never seen my brother afraid. Not once. Not until they put their hands on you. The words should mean nothing. They're just words. Just Lucia's interpretation of events she probably didn't even witness directly. But they land in my chest like stones, heavy and undeniable. He doesn't care about me. It's just... Don't. Lucia's hand finds mine, an awkward tangle of bound wrists and shared pain. Don't diminish what you mean to him just because it's easier than accepting it. I made that mistake. Spent 5 years telling myself my husband didn't love me, that I was just property. I was wrong, and by the time I realized it, it was too late to tell him before he... The door crashes open. Guards flood in, hauling Lucia away despite her protests. She fights, weak but determined, until someone hits her hard enough that she goes limp. No! Stop! My voice breaks on the words, but they don't listen. They drag her out like garbage, and I'm alone again with my thoughts and the blood on the floor where she was lying. Hours pass. Days. Time loses meaning in the windowless room. I drift in and out of consciousness, my body shutting down from dehydration and stress. In my lucid moments, I think about Dante, about his hands, gentle and deadly, about his voice, cold command and devastating softness, about the way he said, "I've got you," like he meant it. Like I was more than a transaction. I'm hallucinating, I must be, when I hear it. A sound so faint, I think I'm imagining it. Then again, closer, louder. Gunfire. The guard in my room tenses, speaking rapidly into a radio. The response is static and shouting, and more gunfire, closer now, echoing through wherever we are. The lights die. Emergency lighting kicks in, red and insufficient, casting the room in hellish shadows. The guard moves toward the door, weapon raised, and I see my opportunity. It's stupid, reckless. I'm bound and weak and probably hallucinating from dehydration. But I'm also desperate. I kick out with both legs, catching the guard behind his knees. He goes down hard, and I'm on him before I can think. using my weight, my bound hands as a weapon, slamming them into his temple with everything I have left. He stops moving. I don't know if he's unconscious or dead, and I don't wait to find out. I roll away, searching his pockets with bound hands until I find it, a knife, small, sharp enough. Cutting the restraints is agony. My hands are so numb I can barely hold the blade, and every movement sends fire through my wrists. But finally, the plastic parts, and blood rushes back into my hands in a wave of pins and needles. The gunfire is closer, much closer. Voices shouting in Russian and English and, "Isabella!" Dante's voice. Hoarse, desperate. Dante's voice cutting through chaos like a lifeline. I stumble to the door, my legs barely supporting my weight. The hallway beyond is carnage, bodies and blood and smoke that makes my eyes water. But through it all, I see him. Dante Salvatore, covered in blood that probably isn't his, fighting his way toward me like I'm the only thing that matters in the world. Our eyes meet across the hallway, and something in his expression breaks. Relief, fear, something that looks almost like love, though I know better than to name it that. "Get down!" I drop as gunfire erupts behind me. Dante returns fire, and men scream, and then he's there, pulling me against him, checking me for injuries with hands that shake. "Are you hurt? Did they... Talk to me, Isabella." "I'm okay. I'm Lucia. They have Lucia and your mother." "I know. Marco's getting them out. He's already moving, pulling me with him through the chaos. Can you run?" "I don't know. Then I carry you." He lifts me like I weigh nothing, cradling me against his chest as he runs through hallways that all look the same. I bury my face in his neck, breathing him in, gunpowder and sandalwood and safety. We emerge into cold night air. A vehicle waits, black SUV, engine running. Marco is there with Elena, bloodied but alive, and my relief is so intense it nearly breaks me. "Lucia?" Dante's question is sharp. "Carlo's getting her, 2 minutes behind us." Marco's eyes find mine briefly. "Good to see you alive, Isabella." "Where?" I start, but Dante is already in the driver's seat, the SUV lurching into motion before the door is fully closed. We drive through darkness, no lights, navigating by memory or instinct or something else. Behind us, the building we escaped from erupts in flames, an explosion that lights the sky orange and sends smoke billowing into the night. "The Volkovs?" Elena's voice is steady despite her injuries. "Dead, most of them." Dante's hands are white-knuckled on the steering wheel. The ones who aren't dead wish they were. The coldness in his tone should frighten me. Instead, it brings a savage satisfaction that I'll examine later when I'm not running on adrenaline and dehydration. I kiss him back with everything I have left. Every fear, every moment of terror, every second I thought I'd die before seeing him again. It all pours into the kiss until I can't tell where my desperation ends and his begins. "We need to move." Marco's voice breaks the moment. "They'll be tracking us. We have maybe 20 minutes before more arrive." "I know." Dante pulls back, his forehead resting against mine. "Isabella, can you hold on a little longer? Just until we get somewhere safe?" "I can hold on forever if you're there." The words escape before I can stop them, honest and raw and undeniable. Something in Dante's expression shifts, softens. "Then hold on, we're almost there." He returns to the driver's seat, and we're moving again. Elena reaches forward, her hand finding my shoulder, a gesture of solidarity, of acceptance, of welcome. "You did well," she says quietly. "You survived. That's all that matters."
But survival isn't all that matters anymore. Somewhere between the kidnapping and the rescue, between the terror and the relief, something changed. Something I'm not ready to name, but can no longer deny.
I don't just want to survive, Dante Salvatore. I want to survive with him. The realization should terrify me. Instead, as we drive deeper into darkness with nothing but his voice and his presence and his absolute certainty that he'll keep me safe, it feels like the first true thing I've felt in days. The SUV swerved violently without warning. Dante swore, sharp and vicious, as headlights appeared behind us, closing fast through the darkness. They found us. Marco already had his weapon ready, checking the magazine with practiced efficiency. How many? How many? 3 vehicles. Maybe 4. Dante's jaw was set in grim determination. Hold on. He accelerated hard, and the forest road became a blur of darkness and danger. The vehicles behind us were gaining steadily, and I could see muzzle flashes as they fired, bullets sparking off metal, shattering what remained of the rear windshield in a spray of glass. Elena shielded me with her body without hesitation, and I wanted to protest, but there was no time for anything except holding on as Dante drove like a man possessed. He took turns that should have flipped us, navigated terrain that seemed impossible in the dark, and somehow kept us ahead of the pursuit that wanted us dead. We burst from the tree line onto a narrow bridge spanning a ravine I couldn't see the bottom of. Dante accelerated toward it at full speed, and I understood his plan a second before it happened. Understood and couldn't do anything except trust that he knew what he was doing. The wooden bridge groaned under our weight, but held long enough for us to cross. Then Dante did something with the vehicle, and behind us the bridge collapsed in a shower of splintering wood and snapping cables. The first pursuing vehicle couldn't stop in time and plunged into the ravine with a scream of metal and breaking timber. The second swerved desperately and crashed into trees with bone-jarring impact. The third stopped just in time, headlights illuminating the gap where the bridge used to be, and I knew we'd bought ourselves precious minutes, but nothing more. Chapter 7. Because they have. Because we all have. You're not a monster. I touch his face, feeling the stubble, the sharp line of his jaw, the contradiction of a man who kills but touches like worship. You're just a man who's done monstrous things to protect what's his, and somewhere along the way, I pause, gathering courage. Somewhere along the way, I became yours, not because you forced it, but because I chose it. How do I admit that somewhere in the chaos and violence, he became my home? I, Isabella Russo, take you, Dante Salvatore, to be my husband. My voice shakes, but I push through. I promise to survive you, to survive with you, to stand beside you even when the world burns around us. I pause, gathering courage. I promise to see you, not the monster everyone else sees, not the criminal or the killer or the man who took my freedom. Just you, the man who covers my body with his when bullets fly, the man who burns the world down to bring me home, the man who asks permission even when he could just take. My voice drops to barely a whisper. I promise to choose you, every day, for as long as we both shall live. Something in Dante's expression cracks. His grip on my hands tightens almost painfully. The officiant continues, oblivious to the current running between us. The rings? Marco produces them. The same platinum bands from before. Family heirlooms worn smooth by generations of Salvatores who loved and lost and survived.
Dante slides the ring onto my finger. It sits beside the engagement ring, completing the set, marking me as his in ways that go beyond paper contracts and forced signatures. When I place his ring on his finger, my hands are steady. Sure, this is right. Insane, but right. I now pronounce you husband and wife. The officiant closes his book with a soft thud. You may kiss your bride. Dante's hand cups my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone. For a moment, he just looks at me, searching for something I don't understand. Permission, maybe? Or forgiveness? Or proof that this is real, and not just another transaction in a life full of them. Then he kisses me, and it's nothing like the desperate kisses in the SUV or the possessive ones in his penthouse. This kiss is a promise, a vow more binding than the ones we just spoke. The kiss of a man who's just married the woman I don't let myself finish the thought. Not yet. It's too soon. Too impossible. But when we break apart, I'm crying. Silent tears that slide down my face and wet his hands where they still cup my face. Hey. His voice is so quiet, only I can hear it. Why tears? I don't know, and I don't. They're not sad tears, not happy tears, just tears. Release, maybe, or grief for the life I'll never have, or joy that I survived long enough to have any life at all. It's done. He presses his forehead to mine, and we stand there breathing the same air while the sun rises beyond the windows. You're mine now, legally, permanently, until death do us part. No mention of the contract. No reminder of the 2-year expiration date. Just the traditional vow, spoken like he means it. Like forever is actually possible. The family congratulates us. Elena with tears and fierce hugs. Lucia with whispered warnings I can't quite hear. Marco with the solemnity of someone witnessing history. Carlo shakes Dante's hand with stiff formality, his expression unreadable. Then they drift away, giving us space, and Dante and I are left alone in the growing daylight. Are you okay? He asks it like he really wants to know, like my answer matters more than anything else. I don't know. The honesty is easier than lies. Ask me again in a year, or 10, or whenever we figure out what this is. What do you think it is? I pause, considering. I think it's two people who found each other in the worst possible way, and somehow made it work anyway. I think it's survival that became something else. I think it's... My phone rings. The sound is jarring. Impossible. My phone has been gone for days, lost in the first kidnapping. Dante pulls it from his pocket. I had it recovered. Thought you might want it back. I take it, seeing an unknown number. Something in my gut twists. Hello? Mrs. Salvatore. A voice I don't recognize. Male. Cold. Congratulations on your wedding. I'm sorry I couldn't attend. Ice floods my veins. Who is this? Someone who has something you want. Your father, to be specific. He's alive, for now, but that depends entirely on your next choices. No. The word is automatic. No, my father is safe. Dante said what he needed to say to control you. But the truth is, your father was never under his protection. He's been with us since the night you signed those papers. We've been waiting for the right moment to use him. You're lying. Am I? A sound in the background, a groan, familiar and devastating. Perhaps you'd like to speak with him yourself. I have 1 hour to figure out how to save my father without getting us both killed.
Because that's what wives do. They protect their families, even when it means betraying the men they love, even when it means risking everything, even when the choice between husband and father is no choice at all, just two impossible options and a heart that's breaking between them. I wait until Dante's breathing evens out. Wait until I'm sure he's actually asleep, though some part of me knows he never really sleeps, never fully lets his guard down. Then I slip from the bed with practiced silence, grab my shoes, and head for the door. My hand is on the handle when his voice stops me cold. If you walk out that door, Isabella, I can't protect you. I freeze. Don't turn around. Can't bear to see his face. I know. My voice is barely a whisper. But I have to try anyway. He's my father, Dante. What would you do if it was Elena? The silence that follows is answer enough. He'd do exactly what I'm doing. Walk into any trap. Face any danger. Risk everything. Because that's what love is. Not the vows we spoke or the rings we wear, but the willingness to sacrifice everything for the people who matter most. Even when it's stupid, even when it's suicidal, even when it means breaking promises to the person you just married. Then I'm coming with you. I hear him moving, getting up. No. I turn finally, and his expression nearly breaks me. They said alone. If you come, he dies. I have to do this. Please, Dante, let me do this. You're asking me to watch you walk into a trap, to let you face whatever's waiting without backup, without protection. His jaw clenches. That's not happening, Isabella. I won't. You have to. I cross to him, taking his face in my hands. You have to trust me. Trust that I can do this, that I'm strong enough, that everything you've taught me about survival means something. I do trust you. His hands cover mine. It's them I don't trust. It's the world that wants to hurt you that I don't trust. Then trust that I'll come back. I rise on my toes, kissing him softly. Trust that I'll fight, that I'll survive, that I'll come home to you. Because I will, Dante. I promise I will. It's a promise I might not be able to keep. We both know it. But I make it anyway, because hope is all we have left. He lets me go. Actually lets me walk to the door, open it, step through. But as I'm leaving, his voice follows me into the hallway one final time. Isabella. If you're not back in 2 hours, I'm coming, and I'm bringing war with me. I don't answer. Just keep walking, my heart breaking with every step that takes me away from safety and toward whatever nightmare is waiting at that address. But as I slip past the guards, easy, too easy, like they were told to let me through, and steal a car from the garage, I feel it. The weight of my wedding ring. The promise I just made. The love I'm too scared to name but can no longer deny. And I drive toward the unknown with one thought burning in my mind. I will survive this. I will save my father. And I will come home to my husband. Because that's what Isabella Salvatore does. She survives. She fights. She wins. Even when winning seems impossible, and the odds are stacked against her, and the only weapon she has is the fierce determination to protect the people she loves. The address leads me to an abandoned factory on the edge of the city. Dawn is breaking, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold that seem obscene given what I'm about to face. I park the car a block away and approach on foot, every instinct screaming at me to turn back, to call Dante, to admit I can't do this alone. But I keep walking, one foot in front of the other, toward the open door where my father is waiting, where death might be waiting, where the choice I made will either save us all or doom us completely. I step inside, and the door slams shut behind me with a finality that echoes like a gunshot. Chapter 8. The factory is darker than I expected. Shadows pool in corners where sunlight can't reach. The air smells like rust and motor oil and something else, something that makes my stomach turn. My footsteps echo on concrete as I move deeper into the building, every sense on high alert. Hello? My voice sounds small, frightened. I'm here, alone, like you said. For a moment, nothing, just silence and shadows and the hammering of my own heart. Then, lights flicker on, harsh fluorescents that make me squint, and I see him. My father, tied to a chair in the center of the open space. His face is swollen, bloodied, barely recognizable. But his eyes find mine, and they're full of something that looks like regret. Dad! I start forward, but a voice stops me. That's far enough, Mrs. Salvatore. The man who steps from the shadows is nobody. Average height, average build, forgettable features. The kind of person who could disappear in a crowd and leave no memory behind. Which makes him infinitely more dangerous than anyone distinctive. You came. He sounds almost surprised. I wasn't sure you would. Most people in your position choose self-preservation over sentiment. Let him go. I force steel into my voice. I'm here. That was the deal. Let him go. The deal. He laughs, soft and utterly devoid of humor. Yes, let's discuss the deal. You see, Mrs. Salvatore, I'm what you might call a facilitator. I work for people who have interests in this city, interests that your husband has been interfering with for quite some time. If this is about Dante, everything is about Dante. He moves closer, circling me like a predator assessing prey. Your husband has built quite an empire. Ruthless, efficient, untouchable. Or at least he was untouchable. Until you. I don't like where this is going. I don't understand. Don't you? He stops in front of me, close enough that I can see his eyes are empty. Dead. You're his weakness, Isabella. The one thing in this world he values more than power, more than territory, more than his own life. He pauses. Which makes you incredibly valuable to people who want to see him destroyed. The Volkovs were amateurs, he waves dismissively, driven by revenge, by emotion. They wanted Dante to suffer, but they had no plan beyond causing pain. His smile is chilling. I represent people with more practical goals. People who understand that the fastest way to remove an obstacle is to remove the foundation it stands on. You want to kill me to hurt him. I want to kill you to end him. The correction is important to him. Without you, Dante Salvatore is just another criminal. Dangerous, yes, but manageable. With you, he shakes his head. With you, he's unpredictable, reckless. A man with something to lose fights differently than a man with nothing left to protect. So, kill me. I force the words out, surprised by how steady they sound. That's why I'm here, right? That's the trap. Kill me and be done with it. Oh, I'm going to kill you. He says it like he's discussing the weather. But first, I'm going to make sure your husband knows exactly what he lost and why. He gestures to my father. Your father has been quite helpful in that regard. He's told me everything.
About the debt? About the forced marriage? About how Dante Salvatore destroyed his daughter's life?
That's not, he didn't.
Didn't he? The man pulls out a phone, starts recording. Tell me, Isabella, are you here because you want to be, or because you have no choice? Did you marry Dante Salvatore because you love him, or because he threatened to kill your father if you didn't? The questions are weapons, each one designed to hurt Dante in ways that bullets never could. I married him because I chose to. The words come easier than they should. Because somewhere between the kidnapping and the chaos, he became the person I wanted to stand beside. Because love doesn't always start with flowers and romance. Sometimes it starts with survival and becomes something more. How touching. But his eyes are calculating. You really believe that, don't you? You've actually convinced yourself that you love your captor. That's textbook Stockholm Syndrome, Mrs. Salvatore, not love. You don't get to tell me what I feel. My voice rises. You don't get to define my choices, or my marriage, or anything about my life.
Your life, he laughs again.
Your life belongs to me now. It has for the past hour. Every breath you've taken since you walked through that door is borrowed time. He gestures, and men emerge from the shadows, 4 of them, armed, surrounding us. But you're right about one thing. I don't get to define your choices, so let me give you one final choice, Isabella Salvatore. He moves to my father, pressing a gun to his temple. My father's eyes close. He's given up, accepted what's coming. Your life for his. The man's voice is conversational. You die here, painfully, while I record every moment to send to your husband. But your father walks free, lives out whatever years he has left, knowing his daughter sacrificed herself to save him. Or you both die, quick, clean, together. No one has to suffer. No one has to watch. That's not a choice. It's the only choice you have left. I look at my father, at the man who raised me, who worked himself to exhaustion to give me opportunities he never had, who made terrible choices out of love and desperation and the kind of fear that makes people stupid. Then I look at the man holding the gun, at the empty eyes that hold no mercy, at the certainty that in the next few minutes, one or both of us will die. And I make a decision. Me. The word is steady. Sure. Let him go. Take me. Do whatever you need to do, but let my father walk out of here. Isabella, no. My father's voice breaks. Don't do this. Don't. Dad, I cut him off. I love you. I've always loved you. But I need you to know something. I move closer, ignoring the guns tracking my movement. I need you to know that I chose this life, that Dante didn't force me, that somewhere in all the chaos, I found something worth fighting for, worth dying for. You're insane! His tears are flowing freely now. He's twisted you, made you think. He made me strong. The realization comes as I speak it. Strong enough to survive. Strong enough to make my own choices. Strong enough to save you, even if you'll never understand why. I turn to the man with the gun. So do it. Let him go, and do whatever you came here to do. For a moment, the man just stares at me. Then, slowly, almost reluctantly, his expression shifts to something that might be respect. You're braver than I expected. He lowers the gun from my father's head. Untie him. One of his men moves to comply, cutting the ropes binding my father to the chair. My father stumbles to his feet, disoriented, looking between me and his captors like he can't quite believe this is happening.
Go. I forced the word past the lump in my throat. Go, Dad. Get out of here. Live your life. Forget about me. Forget about all of this. I can't. Bella, I can't just... You have to. I'm crying now, but my voice stays steady. You have to go. Please, give me this. Let me save you the way you saved me 1,000 times growing up. He looks at me for a long moment. Then he nods once, sharp, final, and turns toward the door. His footsteps echo across the concrete, each one a countdown to whatever comes next. The door opens, closes. He's gone. And I'm alone with 4 armed men, and the certainty that I'm about to die. Well, the man raises his gun, pointing it at my chest. That was moving, truly. Your husband will be devastated when he sees the recording. Which was the point, of course. Nothing destroys a man like Dante Salvatore quite like showing him he couldn't protect the one thing he... The skylight above explodes inward in a shower of glass. Dante drops through like an avenging angel, firing before he even hits the ground. 2 of the men go down immediately, the other 2 scrambling for cover. And the man who was going to kill me, the man with the empty eyes, spins toward this new threat with his gun rising. I don't think. Just move. I slam into him from the side, using every ounce of strength I have. It's not enough to knock him down. He's too solid, too trained. But it's enough to throw off his aim. His shot goes wide, missing Dante by inches. Then Dante is on him, and I've never seen violence like this. Pure, controlled, absolutely lethal. 3 moves. That's all it takes. 3 moves, and the man who was going to kill me is on the ground, unconscious or dead. I can't tell which. The remaining 2 men try to run. They don't make it far. Marco appears in the doorway. How did Marco get here? And they go down under coordinated fire that speaks to years of training. Then silence. Deafening. Complete. Dante turns to me, and his eyes are wild, feral, barely human. Are you hurt? He crosses to me in 3 strides, hands running over my body, checking for injuries. Did they talk to me, Isabella? I'm okay. The words come out shaky. I'm not hurt. Dad, they let him go. He's safe. I know. Dante's hands cup my face, forcing me to look at him. Marco followed him, made sure he got clear. He's fine. You're fine. Everyone's fine except... His jaw clenches. Except you lied to me. You snuck out, you walked into a trap alone and unarmed and... His voice breaks. Do you have any idea what would have happened if I'd been 5 minutes later? I'd be dead. I don't sugarcoat it, but my father would be alive, and that was worth it. Worth it? He's shaking now. Actually shaking. You think your life is worth trading for his? You think I could survive losing you? You'd survive. You're Dante Salvatore. You survive everything. Not that. His forehead drops to mine, and his breath is ragged. Not losing you. That would destroy me, Isabella. Completely. Utterly. And I wouldn't... He stops himself. Wouldn't what? Wouldn't want to survive it. The admission costs him. You're my wife, my partner, the only good thing in a life full of blood and violence. If they'd killed you, if I'd lost you... He pulls back enough to see my face. There wouldn't be enough blood in this city to pay for it. I would have burned everything down. Everyone. Until the world was nothing but ash and graves. The intensity should frighten me. The possessiveness. The absolute certainty that my life matters more than anything else in his world. Instead, it feels like coming home. I'm sorry. The words are inadequate. I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I left. I'm sorry I scared you. But Dante, I pull his hands from my face, holding them between us. He's my father. I had to try. You understand that, right? You would have done the same for Elena. I would have done it differently, but his grip on my hands is gentle. I would have brought backup. I would have had a plan. I wouldn't have just walked in and hoped for the best. I had a plan. What plan? Survive until you showed up. I manage a weak smile. And it worked, didn't it? For a moment, he just stares at me. Then he laughs, short and sharp and edged with hysteria. You're insane. You're absolutely insane. And you're going to give me a heart attack before I'm 40. Probably. I lean into him, suddenly exhausted. But you love me anyway. The words slip out before I can stop them. Unplanned, unscripted. The truth I've been avoiding since the moment I signed those papers. Dante goes very still. What did you say? You heard me. I'm committed now. Might as well finish it. You love me. You wouldn't have followed me here if you didn't. You wouldn't have dropped through a skylight like some kind of action hero if you didn't. You wouldn't... He kisses me, hard, desperate, like he's trying to prove something or convince himself, or maybe just to shut me up before I can say anything else that changes everything. When he pulls back, his eyes are fierce, possessive, absolutely certain. You're right. His voice is rough. I love you. I've loved you since I saw you at that gala. Since I watched you smile at people who had nothing to give you. Since I realized that in a world of takers, you were someone who gave freely, who cared. He pauses. I love you, Isabella Salvatore, and I'm gonna spend the rest of my life making sure you never doubt it, making sure you never regret choosing me, making sure... Dante, I cut him off. I love you too. I think I have for a while. I was just too scared to admit it. Too afraid that loving someone like you meant losing myself. But I was wrong. I touch his face, feeling the stubble, the sharp angles, the man beneath the monster everyone sees. Loving you made me stronger, made me braver, made me someone who can walk into a trap and survive it because I know you'll always come. Always. His promise is absolute. No matter what, no matter where, if you're in danger, I will always come. I will always find you. I will always... Sirens wail in the distance, getting closer. We need to move. Marco's voice breaks the moment. Police response time is 3 minutes. We've got maybe 90 seconds before... I know. Dante's already pulling me toward the door. Come on, we need to get you out of here before... Wait. I stop, pulling against his grip. The recording. The man said he was recording everything. He was going to send it to you, to prove... I don't finish. Don't need to. Dante understands immediately. He moves to the unconscious man, searching him methodically. Finds a phone, deletes everything with practiced efficiency. Then he does the same for the other bodies, because they are bodies now, I realize. Dead men whose only crime was working for someone who wanted to hurt me. Done. Dante takes my hand again. Now we go. We run, through the factory, out into morning sunlight that seems too bright, too normal for everything that just happened. Into a waiting SUV where Marco already has the engine running. As we pull away, I hear the sirens arriving. See the flash of lights reflected in the rearview mirror. But we're already gone, disappearing into traffic. Just another vehicle on a busy street. Where are we going? I finally ask when I can breathe again. Home. Dante's hand finds mine, lacing our fingers together. The penthouse. It's secure, clean, and after everything... He looks at me, something soft in his expression. After everything,
I just want to take my wife home. Wife. The word still sounds strange, but also right, like it was always supposed to be this way.
What about my father? Marco's people are taking him to the airport. He'll be on a plane to Seattle in 2 hours. New identity, new life, enough money to live comfortably. Dante pauses. He'll be safe, Isabella, I promise.
Will I ever see him again? If you want to. His thumb strokes my knuckles. I won't keep you from him. Won't make you choose between us. He's your father. You love him. I understand that. Even if... He stops himself.
Even if what? Even if part of me wishes you didn't have to, that you could just be mine, just belong to me and my world and nothing else. His honesty is brutal. But that's not fair, and you deserve better than my jealousy and possessiveness.
I like your possessiveness. The admission surprises us both. I like that you care enough to be jealous, that you want me to belong to you. As long as, I pause, as long as you belong to me too. As long as this goes both ways.
It does. No hesitation. I'm yours, Isabella, completely, utterly, in ways I never thought I could belong to anyone. He brings my hand to his lips, kissing my knuckles gently. You own me, body and soul, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
The penthouse is exactly as I remember it. Glass and steel and expensive furniture that belongs in museums. But it feels different now. Less like a prison and more like home.
I say it out loud, testing the word. This is home now. If you want it to be. Dante closes the door behind us, engaging locks that probably cost more than most cars. Or we can go somewhere else, buy something new, make it ours instead of mine. I like ours. I move to the windows, looking out at the city that's tried to kill me more times than I can count. I like the sound of that. He comes up behind me, arms wrapping around my waist, chin resting on my shoulder. We stand there for a long moment, just breathing, just existing in this space we've claimed together. What happens now? I finally ask. The Volkovs are dead. The people who wanted to hurt us are dead. My father is safe. We're married. Actually married, not just pretending. I turn in his arms to face him. What comes next? Life. His answer is simple. We live. We figure out what being married means without bullets flying and kidnappings and constant danger. He pauses, something almost shy crossing his features. We try to be normal, or as normal as people like us can be. I don't know if I remember how to be normal. Then we'll figure it out together. He cups my face, and his touch is so gentle it makes my chest ache. You and me, husband and wife, partners in every way that matters. Partners in crime? I can't help the small smile. Partners in life. His correction is important. I'm done with the criminal empire, Isabella. Done with the violence and the territory wars and everything that made me a target. I'm keeping the legitimate businesses, the investments, the real estate. But the rest? He shakes his head. The rest I'm walking away from, because none of it matters compared to keeping you safe, to building a life with you that doesn't involve safe rooms and bulletproof vests. Can you just walk away? Is it that simple? No. His honesty is refreshing. It'll take time, careful planning, making sure I don't leave power vacuums that start new wars. But yes, I can walk away, and I will, for you, for us, for the life we deserve to have. I kiss him then, soft and slow and full of promise. The kiss of a wife who's finally found her husband, who's finally found home. When we break apart, he's smiling, actually smiling, warm and real and completely unguarded. I love you, he says again, like he's testing the words, learning how they feel in his mouth. I love you too, and I mean it, despite everything, because of everything. Love that grew in soil watered with blood and fear and the desperate need to survive. Come on. He takes my hand, pulling me toward the bedroom. You need rest, real rest, in a real bed, without fear or danger or anything except sleep.
Just sleep? I raise an eyebrow.
His smile turns wicked. Well, maybe not just sleep. We make it to the bedroom, to the bed that's soft and safe and ours. And as Dante pulls me close, as his hands map my body like he's memorizing every inch, as I surrender to the overwhelming certainty that this is where I'm meant to be, I think about everything that brought us here. The kidnapping, the forced marriage, the violence and fear and desperate choices made in impossible situations. The way love grew in the spaces between survival, taking root despite everything trying to kill it. And I realized that I wouldn't change any of it, because every terrible moment, every impossible choice, every time I thought I wouldn't survive, it all led here, to this man, this life, this love that shouldn't exist but does anyway. Isabella? Dante's voice pulls me back to the present. Where did you go? Nowhere. I touch his face, grounding myself in the reality of him. I'm right here, with you, where I choose to be. Where you choose to be. He repeats it like a vow. I like the sound of that. So do I. And as dawn breaks over the city beyond our windows, as my husband holds me like I'm something precious and irreplaceable, as I finally allow myself to believe that we might actually get a happy ending despite everything stacked against us, I understand something fundamental about love and survival and the woman I've become. I am Isabella Salvatore, wife, partner, survivor, and I chose this life. This love, this man who's both my captor and my salvation, my monster and my home. I chose him, every day, in every way that matters, and I always will. Epilogue. Let me start again. It took time, careful planning, delicate negotiations with the families who wanted to fill the power vacuum Dante left behind. But eventually, slowly, we walked away from the criminal empire and built something cleaner, legal, safe. Not perfect. We still have enemies. Still look over our shoulders sometimes. Still have guards, though they call themselves security consultants now and wear suits instead of tactical gear. But we're alive. Together. And that's more than either of us expected 2 years ago. How's the Mitchell case coming? Dante asks, folding his newspaper. Good. Great, actually. I lean back, stretching. The judge ruled in our favor yesterday. Full custody to the mother, restraining order against the father. She cried in my office for 20 minutes. Happy tears, I assume. The happiest. I close my laptop, giving him my full attention. It's strange, you know. 2 years ago, I was the one being rescued. Now I spend my days rescuing other people. It feels like purpose, he finishes for me, like you found what you were meant to do. Did I? I tilt my head, studying him. Or did you make me into this? The lawyer who fights for people who can't fight for themselves. The woman who stands up to powerful men and wins. Is that me? Or is that who you needed me to be? That's who you always were. His certainty is absolute. I just gave you the resources to do it properly, the connections, the credibility. But the fire, he reaches across the table, taking my hand. The fire was always yours, Isabella. I just made sure it didn't burn you alive. My phone buzzes. A text from my assistant. Client meeting at 2. Judge wants to see us at 4. Traffic is bad? Leave now? I have to go. I gather my things, but Dante catches my hand before I can stand. Tonight. His voice is quiet. We need to talk about something tonight. Ice slides down my spine. Those words, that tone. It brings back memories of warehouses and contracts and choices made under duress. You're scaring me. I force a smile. Should I be scared? No, but something flickers in his eyes. Maybe. I don't know. He releases my hand. Come home tonight. Don't work late. Don't take on emergency cases. Just come home. Okay. I lean down, kissing him quickly. Home, 6 o'clock, I promise. But as I leave the coffee shop, as I navigate traffic to get to my office, that conversation replays in my head. The uncertainty in his voice. The way his hand held mine too tightly. The flash of something in his eyes that looked almost like fear. Let me finish. He opens the box, revealing a ring that's nothing like the one I'm wearing. This one is simpler, elegant. A single emerald surrounded by small diamonds, set in rose gold. That marriage was real, legal, binding. But it wasn't yours. You never chose it. You never chose me. Not really. Not without coercion. That's not true. I chose you. Every day for 2 years, I've chosen you. I know. His smile is soft. But I want you to choose me again. Not because you're afraid, not because you're trapped, but because you want to. Because you love me the way I love you. Completely, irrationally, with full knowledge of what that means. He slides off the couch, kneeling in front of me, and suddenly I can't breathe. Isabella Salvatore. His eyes hold mine, and I see everything in them. Love. Hope. Vulnerability I've only glimpsed in our darkest moments. Will you marry me? Again. Properly this time. With your family and my family and everyone who matters. With vows you choose and a ceremony that's yours. With the full understanding that you can say no and I'll still love you. Still be your husband. Still spend every day trying to be worthy of you. For a moment, I can't speak, can't process what he's asking, can only stare at this man, this complicated, violent, gentle, loving man, who's offering me the choice he stole 2 years ago. You want to marry me again, I finally manage, even though we're already married. I want you to marry me. His correction is important. I want you to walk down an aisle in a white dress and tell the world that you choose me, not because you have to, but because you want to. Can you, his voice cracks, can you do that? Can you choose me, even knowing everything you know, everything I've done, everything I am? You're an idiot. The words come out watery, choked. Of course I can. Of course I will. I've been choosing you every single day since the moment I signed those papers. Maybe even before that. Maybe from the moment I saw you in that warehouse and realized that the monster everyone warned me about was just a man trying to survive in a world that wanted him dead. I slide off the couch, kneeling with him on the floor, ignoring the rose petals that scatter under my knees. Yes. I cup his face, feeling the stubble, the sharp angles, the man I love more than I ever thought possible. Yes, I'll marry you again, as many times as you want, in any way you want, because you're my husband, Dante, not because of contracts or coercion or force, but because you're the person I want to wake up next to every morning and fall asleep next to every night. Because you make me stronger and braver and better than I ever thought I could be. Because I love you. Completely, irrationally, with full knowledge of what that means. He kisses me then, soft and desperate and full of relief. And when he pulls back, he's crying, actual tears sliding down his face. And I've never loved him more than in this moment, when he's letting me see all of him, the vulnerable parts, the scared parts, the parts that still can't quite believe someone chose him willingly. I love you. He slides the ring on my finger, and it fits perfectly beside the other one. I love you so much it terrifies me. I love you enough that I'd let you go if that's what you needed. I love you enough to give you the choice I stole 2 years ago. I love you too. I kiss him again, tasting salt and joy and the future we're building together. And I choose you, today, tomorrow, forever, however long we have. Forever, he repeats it like a vow. I like the sound of that. We stay there on the floor, surrounded by rose petals and candlelight, holding each other like we're still afraid someone might try to tear us apart. But the enemies are gone. The violence has faded. All that's left is us, two people who found each other in the worst possible way and somehow made it work anyway. Eventually, we eat dinner. Cold now, but neither of us cares. We talk about the wedding, small, intimate, just family and close friends. We talk about the future, kids maybe, someday when we're ready. We talk about the apartment we're buying in the building next door, the one with more space and better light and a view of the park. We talk about everything and nothing, the way couples do when they're building a life together. And later, when we're in bed with the city lights painting patterns on the ceiling, Dante pulls me close and whispers the words he said 1,000 times, but somehow sound new tonight. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for giving me the choice. I burrow into his warmth, feeling his heartbeat steady against my back. Thank you for letting me fall in love with you properly, without fear, without force. Just love. Just love. His arms tighten around me. Is that what this is? That's exactly what this is. And as I drift off to sleep in my husband's arms, in the home we've built together, in the life we chose despite everything trying to prevent it, I think about the woman I was 2 years ago. Scared, trapped, convinced she'd never be free again. That woman doesn't exist anymore. She died somewhere between the warehouses and the safe houses, between the violence and the vows, between the forced marriage and the real one. In her place is Isabella Salvatore, lawyer, wife, woman who knows exactly what she wants and isn't afraid to fight for it. I chose this, all of it, the man, the life, the love that grew in the spaces between survival. And I'd choose it again. 1,000 times, 1,000,000. Because some love stories don't start with meet-cutes and first dates. Some start with kidnapping and contracts and impossible choices made under duress. But they can still have happy endings. They can still be real. They can still be everything. Ours is. 6 months later, I walk down the aisle of a small chapel wearing a white dress that I chose. My father, back from Seattle for the occasion, older but alive, gives me away with tears in his eyes. Elena sits in the front row, crying into a handkerchief. Lucia stands as my maid of honor, Marco as Dante's best man. And Dante waits at the altar, looking at me like I'm the only thing in the world that matters. The ceremony is simple, traditional. The vows are the standard ones, but when I say I do, I mean it with my whole heart. When Dante slides a new ring on my finger, a wedding band to match the engagement ring he gave me 6 months ago, his hands shake. I now pronounce you husband and wife. The officiant smiles. Again, you may kiss your bride. And Dante does. He kisses me in front of our families and our friends and God and everyone, and it feels like the first time and the 1,000th time simultaneously. When we break apart, the chapel erupts in applause. Mrs. Salvatore, Dante's voice is just for me. How does it feel to be married to me? Voluntarily this time. Exactly the same. I touch his face, smiling through happy tears. And completely different. Ask me again in 50 years. I will. His promise is absolute. Every day for 50 years, and you'll keep choosing me. Every single day. I kiss him again. That's a promise. And as we walk back down the aisle together, husband and wife, partners, lovers, friends, I know with absolute certainty that this is exactly where I'm meant to be. Not because fate brought us together, not because circumstances forced us, but because every single day we choose each other. We choose this love. We choose this life. We choose us. And that choice, that free, willing, joyful choice, makes all the difference. 10 years later, I find Dante in his study, going over investment reports with the reading glasses he now needs for everything. Gray threads through his dark hair, and there are lines around his eyes that weren't there when we met. He's 45 now. I'm 36. We've been married for 12 years total. 2 under contract, 10 by choice. Hey, I lean against the doorframe, watching him work. The kids are asleep, finally. Sophia wanted 5 more stories, and Marco Jr. refuses to believe that monsters aren't real. Monsters are real? Dante looks up, smiling. His mother is married to one. Was married to one? I cross the room, perching on the edge of his desk. The man I'm married to now is a venture capitalist who coaches Little League and cries during Disney movies. I had something in my eye. You sobbed during Coco. That movie is emotional manipulation. But he's pulling me into his lap, and I go willingly, because this is what 12 years looks like. Comfort, familiarity, love that's weathered time and challenges, and the beautiful mundanity of everyday life. Elena called. I play with his collar, straightening it unnecessarily. She wants the kids next weekend. Something about teaching Sophia to bake. Which means teaching Sophia to make a mess while Elena does all the actual baking. Probably. I lean my forehead against his. We could go away, just the 2 of us. That bed and breakfast in Vermont we keep talking about visiting? Vermont. His hands settle on my waist, familiar and warm. We could do that. Or, he pauses, or we could stay here. Order takeout, watch terrible movies, not wear pants. I like the way you think. We sit like that for a moment, just breathing the same air, existing in this space we've created together. The study is filled with books and photos, our wedding, the kids' births, family vacations, a life captured in frozen moments. On his desk, partially hidden under the reports, I spot something familiar. A folder, old, worn at the edges. Is that? I reach for it, and Dante doesn't stop me. Inside are photos of me from before, walking to work, sitting in a coffee shop, volunteering at the community center. You kept them. I look at him, surprised. After everything, you kept the surveillance photos? I kept everything. His hand covers mine on the folder. The contract, the photos, the first ring I gave you, the one from the warehouse before the real engagement ring. Everything that reminds me how we started, what I almost lost, what I don't deserve but somehow got to keep. Dante, let me finish. He takes the folder, closes it gently. I look at these sometimes, when I'm having a bad day, when the guilt gets heavy, when I wonder if I destroyed your life instead of saving it. And then I walk out of this study, And I see you cooking dinner, or helping Sophia with homework, or laughing at something on your phone. And His voice catches. I realize that somehow, despite everything, we got our happy ending. We got the life we deserved. We got each other.
We did. I cup his face, forcing him to look at me. And you didn't destroy my life. You complicated it. You turned it upside down. You scared me and challenged me and pushed me to be stronger than I knew I could be. But you didn't destroy it. You just, I search for words. You just changed the direction. And I like where we ended up. Even though it started with, especially because it started with that, I cut him off. Because it means we fought for this. We earned this. We didn't get the easy love story. We got the complicated one, the messy one, the one that required choice and commitment and deciding every day that we were worth fighting for. Are we? His vulnerability still surprises me, even after all these years. Worth fighting for?
Every single day. I kiss him softly. Every single day. From upstairs, I hear Sophia cry out. A nightmare, probably. We both move automatically. Him to stand, me to slide off his lap, but I stop him with a hand on his chest.
I'll get her. You finish your work.
You sure? I'm sure. I head for the door, then pause. Dante?
Yes? Thank you for stalking me 12 years ago, for seeing something in me worth fighting for being brave enough, or crazy enough, to turn obsession into love.
Thank you for being brave enough to love me back. His smile is soft. For choosing me when you could have chosen safety. For building this life with me. For giving me a family I never thought I'd have.
Anytime. I blow him a kiss. Now finish those reports so you can come to bed and show your wife some of that infamous Salvatore delotion.
It's a date. I head upstairs to comfort our daughter, to tuck her back into bed and promise her that monsters aren't real. And as I do, I think about the irony of that promise. Because monsters are real. I married one 12 years ago. But monsters can change. They can grow. They can become fathers who read bedtime stories, and husbands who cry during animated movies, and men who look at their wives like they're the most precious thing in the world. My monster became a man, and I became the woman strong enough to love him anyway. That's our story. That's our truth. And I wouldn't change a single chapter. Not the violence, not the fear, not the impossible beginning that led to this perfect middle, and whatever ending awaits us decades from now. This is our love story. Savage in its beginning, devoted in its continuation, beautiful in its imperfection. This is us. And I choose it. Choose him. Choose this life. Every single day. Always. Forever. The end.